5:49 Central African Time as we host once again this Friday afternoon Victor Kgomoeswana. He's author of Africa is Open for Business and Africa Bounces Back. He's also the Executive Director for Marketing and Communication at the University of Limpopo. Good to have you with us once again, Victor, and happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, Thami. Good to talk to you again.
Just a bit earlier on this afternoon, Victor, we spoke to a Fine Star director, Fine Star, the global manufacturer of cut and polished diamonds. And they've just recently opened up a new diamond manufacturing facility at the OR Tambo International, or rather Special Economic Zone. And I find that quite interesting because they deal in natural diamonds. And clearly it's working out for them. But if we look at Lesotho, I mean, they've been the biggest diamond mining, or their biggest diamond mine is cutting off a workforce. And this really due to the price slumps and the pressure that the natural diamond industry has been facing globally. Talk to us about just the contrast of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not even a contrast, Tami. If you have a large portfolio of businesses, you can afford to open a business like that because there are still people who are collecting diamonds and organic diamonds or natural diamonds. And the De Beers people will tell you straight that if you're buying lab-made diamonds, you're going to lose because they don't appreciate in value as natural diamonds do. Time will tell. But since 2022, the price of diamonds has come down by 35%, and in the 6 months to June, the company that owns Seletseng Mine, which is the largest mine in Botswana, and that's Gem Diamonds, reported a loss of $11.7 million after registering a $2.1 million profit in the same period last year. So this is 10% of the GDP of Lesotho. And it's as important as textiles and clothing, and it's losing value because of that. So with the 26% lower price, I think just over 1,000 carats $1,000 per carat, this is obviously forcing them to close the company and lay off 240 workers.
It's going to have a huge impact there for Lesotho. Let's take a look now at Chevron. They are looking at exploring for oil offshore in Angola, and that deal being penned.
Yeah, the preliminary agreement with ANPG, but it's subject to regulatory approval. But in the Lower Congo Basin, they are going to be getting the blocks, a few blocks that they're getting. It's part of a bigger story in Angola since the arrival of President João Lourenço, that they have been trying to clean up and get more structure into the diamond, into the gold, the oil industry. Although they're also doing well in diamonds, but it's just an American company that when you hear Donald Trump talk about Africa, you will think he doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't think highly of it. But this is a top 2 oil company in the U.S., Chevron, alongside with the other one. So it's not a minor investment. And it's not the only place where they're investing on the African continent. So it is just an indication that you can talk politics, but investors and businessmen and women are knowing that exactly where the business is on this continent, and that's where they're investing.
And that's where the focus is for Egypt as well. Egypt signing 4 oil and gas exploration agreements with various international companies. So definitely oil and gas exploration continues to be a major activity.
Exactly. I mean, Shell is in the biggest of the deal. It's a huge $340 million, but the biggest deal is $120 million by Shell. BP is there as well, British Petroleum. There's a Russian company they are all in the mix. The 10 new blocks, wells that are going to be dug in the offshore Mediterranean and Nile Delta region. So yes, tourism in Egypt, sea passage for cargo moving from the Indian Ocean, Pacific to the Atlantic, and you also have oil exploration. Is the diversification of the economy that's going to help, because you can't just depend on one. If you see what Botswana is doing, depending too much on diamonds is not safe. So they are diversifying, the Egyptians, and they are doing very well, because this is just a sign that the economy is going to grow and become even bigger on the African pecking order.
And taking a look at Dangote, once again expanding, and this time into the United States once again.
This is interesting because he has been trying. Look, he's got a 650,000 barrel per day refinery. That's the capacity. And he is now exporting the first consignment of 300,000 barrels of refined petroleum to the U.S. The East Coast is going to lend there. And this is a first for Dangote, but it's not the first international export. He has sold to Indonesia, he has sold to the Middle East, he has sold to South Africa. So he is showing that although the capacity of the refinery can be absorbed entirely by the Nigerian market, he is not desperate. He can find markets elsewhere. And considering the hard time that he's been getting with the bureaucracy in Nigeria, I think it's good for him that his refinery can have alternatives and not have the concentration risk of selling only or depending only on one market.
And how do Trump's tariffs bode on this particular export?
You know, because of the way oil and petroleum products are sold, I'm sure it will be an issue. But remember, the alternative is to go and buy what? Russian oil? So I'm sure they will negotiate. You know, that's why I'm saying, you know, there's a joke in the White House, they say, that advisors of Donald Trump don't do everything he tells them the first time, because he might just not remember what he told you. So this tariff story is not what it looks like on the surface. It's all about, he's not going to let those SUVs in America run out of petrol because he wants to impose tariffs. So I'm sure that he will be selective in how he imposes them. And in the end, there's Dangote. He's already closed the deal. I don't think you will want to be bullying anybody like Dangote, especially because he's got other international markets that he can sell. I'm sure he got a very good deal here that the tariffs won't matter.
And what message do you think this actually sends to the exporters of the world? Is it be bullish, take your shot, shoot your shot, and who knows, you might just make it through.
The message is TACO. TACO. Trump always chickens out. He can talk tough. He can do whatever. He's got a market that's guzzling. The American cars are huge, Thami. You know them. They are guzzlers of petrol. He doesn't have enough to meet his demand. He's going to have to buy. So, but what he needs, what the American market needs, he's going to cut a deal. He's a businessman. He's not stupid. So he talks tough and all rambunctious on the surface, but behind the scenes, I'm sure he can cut a deal. He's got very smart people who can cut a deal where it matters the most. So I think it's just the dynamics and the industry dynamics of what you're selling, and then do what you can to stay in business. He's not going to be in power forever. It's 2 more years to go. He will be out, and I'm sure people can restore that if they just play the long game.
Play the long game, he says. Victor Kgomoeswana, also always a pleasure. Thank you so much for today's top business stories related to and coming from the African continent. Thank you so much. You have yourself a splendid weekend ahead.
You too, Thami. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much.